Hello, Business 630 students. This is Professor Hassey. It's Friday, April 14th, and this is the week two, end of the week or weekend update video for our class, Corporate Finance, for the Spring 2 session 2023. And so far this week, we've had most of our student professor interviews or meetings where we just get to know each other and update and answer any questions or concerns you all had. There's still two students who have yet to do that, and your names are on the discussion forum. Please make an appointment with me this weekend, or you will get a 0 for that effort in this second week. So make sure you get in touch with me. The interviews were great. It gave me a good feedback of your experiences and where you're all coming from, and I think it's a good thing for us to get together in these early days of our course. That being said, we now conclude our second week, which is a week of learning about bonds and time value of money and how the value of money is in regarding risk and return of financial management. I have posted already the case number 1 for our coursework. It's due Sunday, April 23rd. It's a APA format paper, and it's entitled Risk Analysis and Interpretation. It's a risk analysis of the company you selected for our course in week 1. And I'll talk more about that in just a minute. But it is now posted and you can begin your work. A couple of things of help to do this is learning how to use the database in our Wilson Library at the University of Laverne, and I have a brief video to explain how that works, and you can use that as a great source of data for all your companies throughout our session. And remember now, here's where we are right now in our course. We're now in the second week. We've concluded week number 1, where you did that discussion post, and that grade has been posted along with you selecting a company, and I have noted that. This is week 2. You have the student professor meeting. That grade has been posted if you've already met with me. And now we get into case number 1, which is now posted, 20% of your course grade. It is due Sunday, April 23rd, and it is in the APA format. If you do not know about APA format, you can ask me, or there's links on the case study number 1 to get up to speed on APA. Also, there's a video in our YouTube playlist explaining APA format. So case number 1 is now posted and off and running. Again, you can contact me anytime if you have questions. I will not look at drafts of your paper, but I will answer questions that you may have about your paper and what you're trying to do. Remember, we have review sessions or student hour sessions every Tuesday and Thursday from 6 to 8 that can help you guide in your guide of putting that paper together. Remember, as I indicated in our professor-student interviews, if you need extra time and extension for the work beyond Sunday, April 23rd, just send me a quick email. Say, Mr. Hassey, I'd like an extension. And if you can get that paper back to me no later, probably than the Wednesday of the following week, that would be excellent. But there are extensions available for all our casework. The only casework that we will not have an extension on will be case number 3, which is, case number 3 and the course assessment case paper, which is due on the last day of class. Not case number 3, that is due May 21st. Mr. Hassey, wake up. Course assessment, the case paper is due May 28th, which is the last day of our class, and there can be no extension for that particular work, but that work will be posted in 2 weeks, so you'll have about a month to do it anyways. Okay, so that's where we stand. If we go to the case study file folder, which you'll now see in your Blackboard, there is all the information and data for your risk analysis and interpretation of the company you selected in week number 1. I have given you 2 case files. One is in a PDF format and another is in a Word doc format. Doesn't really make any difference. And also, I have given you a rubric. A rubric explains to you how I will assess and grade the APA format paper. All right. Again, this is a paper, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. So it's now posted to Blackboard. You can download it and begin your work. Okay, now a brief video to explain this database in the Wilson Library and your access to it. It's very easy, it's very convenient, and it's very excellent. You can get a lot of data from this database for a lot of things about corporate America. So let's take a look at that video. Here's our Laverne website, which many of you are familiar with. If you go to the Laverne website and click on Academics and go to the Wilson Library, you have the entrance into our library website. Now, as online students or any student of the University of Laverne, you have access to all the information in the library. Now, for MBA students like yourselves who have to do research and a lot of real-world study and analysis, you should be familiar with the databases. So if you click on databases here in the library website, you will bring up all the different databases at the library, and you want to concentrate on, since this is a finance class, finance. And as you can see, this is the databases for finance. Before I get to that, this woman right here, her name is Linda Gordon. Her task is specifically assigned to our Business Online class to help our students with any help they need with library resources. You can email Linda, you can call her, you can leave a message. She will get back to you. If you're having trouble with writing a paper in APA format, if you're having trouble locating information at the library website, call on Linda and she will help you. She is specifically assigned to our program, Linda Gordon. And the database that we're going to be working with in our class, and maybe for all of your MBA classes, is called D&B Hoovers. It's the most popular database for finance, where all American corporations are listed. If you remember in your case study, if you've read it yet, and I will talk about this in a separate video, you are asked to locate the financial information from a company that you select. The financial information is from the 10K financial report of that corporation. D&B Hoover's database is a place where all that 10K information is collected. So if I click on D&B Hoover's, up will come a sign-in page where you as a student have to log in just like me as a faculty member. So you would type in your last name and you would type in your Laverne ID number. I hope you know your Laverne ID number. If you don't, it's on your registration forms. It's probably in your Blackboard site. But once you type that in, you hit submit. And now you're in the D&B Hoover's website database. You type in the name of the company you're looking for. Let's say I'm going to pick Apple Computer. And I'll bring up anything associated with Apple. Apple Incorporated is the company we want, Apple Computer. And it brings up everything you always wanted to know about Apple but were afraid to ask. This is great. It helps you with so many things. It gives you the basics of the company. It gives you a link to their website, their headquarters, the number of employees. It talks about the business, the industry they're in, company highlights, their lead management team, articles and information about the company, some financial ratios and snapshots of the stock. But more importantly for us, it also gives the financial data downloaded from the company's 10K reporting. If you remember, 10Ks are SEC filings to the government, publicly audited financial statements of the company. So if I click on income statements, annual, that's what we're concerned about, the annual results, you can see 1, 2, 3 years of their financial performance in an income statement. You can download this to an Excel file. You can print it out. All kinds of information regarding their income statement. Here's their balance sheet on an annualized basis going back 3 years. Here's their cash flow statement. So one of the great things about this database is you don't have to search all around the internet. You don't have to go to the company's website and try to figure out how they're doing it.
In one area, you can locate lots of data on corporate America. In addition to just the financial information, it gives you information about the company's description, what they do, their history, which I think is kind of important to your case number one of the questions I ask, their products and operations, where they work, where they do most of their business, and their products, a SWOT analysis, a company SWOT analysis of Apple that's done by the investment community, news, articles, and it's also who are their competitors, a list of their competitors and their various types of businesses that compete with Apple Computer. Their annual reports, you can download their SEC filings, you can download, and then also a stock report talking about the history of the stock over the last many years. So in other words, this is one place you can go and get financial data for your companies in your analysis. You probably could use this in other classes too, but throughout our course, Business 635, you will be using this to gather your data because it's at the Wilson Library site. It's one place where you know where the information is. You have control over the data. You can download the data. It's made and developed for you, the student in the MBA program. So that's part of the research that you will be using this class, and I hope this helps you kind of track it down. Again, if you need help, you can contact me or you can contact Linda Gordon in the library. All right, everybody.
Okay, that video was a little dated, like 3 or 4 years old, but that website and that database is still there, still active, still the same. So I apologize for some of the years you see there, but it's all exactly the same as it is today. All right, here is the first case of our class. Remember, we have basically 4 key assessments in our class: a APA format risk analysis. The case number 2 is a capital budget analysis in a spreadsheet format. Case number 3 is a financial analysis of the company in a PowerPoint presentation. And then the course assessment case, called Electrics case, is a case study APA format and capital budgeting spreadsheet. So those are our main analysis. 4 different ways of interpreting and presenting your analysis of a specific business strategy or a business decision process. And this first one is the paper, where you're going to be doing a risk analysis and interpretation of the company that you have selected for this course. So the risk evaluation is for you to tell me a variety of different things about your current company with the following parameters. First of all, tell me the current credit rating of your company. You've already done this. What is the beta of your company? Part of our discussion of our first 2 weeks has been the capital asset pricing model, which we reviewed. I would ask you to determine, using the capital asset pricing model, the required return on equity investment for your particular company using that formula. And the risk-free rate you will use in that formula is 3.45%, and the market risk return rate in that formula will be 10%. Tell me what the required return on equity investment is for your particular company. Also, I would like to know your firm's current, as of the most recent quarter, financial statement. What is the capital structure of your company? In other words, what percent of the assets of the company from the balance sheet of the most current quarter, which will probably be, you might have March 31st, but I highly doubt it. You'll probably have December 31st, 2022. What percent of assets are funded by the right-hand side of the balance sheet? What percent debt? What percent equity? Okay, now those 2 numbers have to total 100%, because if your balance sheet is equal, assets equals debt plus equity, that has to equal 100%. So what percent of your company is debt and equity? All right. Now, what I would like you to do, and this is something that you might have to go back into your data banks or whatever, but the information is available. Using a cost of debt of 8% and a corporate tax rate of 25%, calculate your firm's current weighted average cost of capital using the capital structure percentage that you determined above. So you, again, the weighted average cost of capital is the cost of debt plus weighted by the percent of debt in the balance sheet plus the capital asset pricing model return on equity times the weight of equity in the balance sheet. In my week 3 video, I will highlight this equation also in my course lecture on Monday, April 17th. Okay, so that's the risk evaluation. So that's pretty much the first part is some number crunching there. And then I would like you to do some risk perspective. It's over 65% of the work is what is the current organizational health of your company and what is the current environmental perspective or health of your company. Key takeaways would be your risk analysis, the quantitative risk analysis, which was basically the first part, and then a qualitative risk analysis on your ability to judge what's the risk of this company. Do they have organization risks? Have they been involved in any bankruptcies, liability, or legal issues? Are they in a do they have they had a change in the management team of the company in recent years? Environmental risk. What's their market? Is their business thriving? Is their business in trouble? Is their business model getting old? What are the risks of the business in organization and in environment? And then I go on further explaining that analysis in this paper. You present this in an APA format, which means a title page, an abstract page, references, double spaced in Times New Roman 12-point font. That's specific. The minimum work is 5 pages, and that's including the title page and the abstract page and the reference page. So minimum is 5 pages, a maximum of 10 pages. If any of you need help with the APA format, you just click on this link, or you contact me and I'll explain it to you. So you're taking a look at your company by doing some qualitative analysis in this first part, crunching some numbers. What's its credit rating? What's its beta? Because you need the beta to do the capital asset pricing model. What is their percent or capital structure percentages? Using that data, you can do a WACC analysis. And then a quantitative analysis, of organizational and environmental risk to your current company. Don't forget those. Those are very important because it's more than half of the graded value of this case is in that analysis of the risk of your company. So good luck. I'll be around for questioning all week. And that is your case number 1. Here's the rubric for this case. Every case that I give you will have a rubric. In other words, explaining how I will grade the work. It'll be on the organization and the focus of your paper, the risk of evaluation, the quantitative numbers of your credit ratings, capital asset pricing calculation, and so on, the risk perspective of organizational and environmental health, your abstract support and elaboration. In other words, how you support. Remember, an abstract in an APA format is basically you're right up front, you're telling the reader of the paper what you're trying to find out, what you're going to find out. Do you properly support that abstract? The paper presentation, does it have the proper font, double spaced? Is it set up well? If there's no grammar or spelling errors. So that's how I'll grade it. Your organization of your paper, risk evaluation, risk perspective, abstract elaboration, and your presentation format. So that's the rubric for this case and how I will grade your work. Okay, so as we conclude week two, what have we looked at? Well, first of all, we've selected a company. We've gotten to know each other in discussion forum posts and student professor meetings. We've talked about the concept of risk and return and the capital asset pricing model. We've taken a look at the financial management or corporate finance perspectives of the time value of money, looking at the discounted cash flow of a series of cash flows off an investment. We've looked at the time value of money in relationship to pricing and determining the value of credit and assets in regards to bond valuation. And now we're concluding our second week, going into the third week with a risk analysis of a particular company, looking at risk in a qualitative format, number and evaluation, and quantitative format, looking at environmental and organization risk of your current company as of today, this quarter. So that'll give us in good stead as we move on into the second 2/3 of our course. Remember, we have student hours every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm available on weekends as we've discussed in our student professor meetings. So I look forward to helping you and working with you as you proceed now into the case situation of our corporate finance class. Have a great weekend, everybody. In our lecture video on Monday, April 17th, I will talk a little bit more about the WAC analysis, and we'll begin our third week of course study talking about equity investments or stock valuations or stock financing of assets in a company. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Adios.